What began as the Mighty Ducks Anaheim Ducks' first ever NHL game in October 8th, 1993 versus Detroit would start a feud between the old and the new of the NHL. That feud became a rivalry between our Mighty Ducks Anaheim Ducks and one of the original six teams in the NHL, the Detroit Red Wings. For the first 10 years of our Mighty Ducks Anaheim Ducks tenure in NHL, facing off against one of the best NHL teams at that time and storied franchises in the Detroit Red Wings. The Ducks would always be at a disadvantage, facing a team full of talent, skill, Stanley Cup championship experience, not to mention being a team being looked down upon by traditionalist hockey fans of the original six. For many years, the Ducks would always be looked upon as the underdog, often mocked, often considered a cakewalk when they faced Detroit. On May 2nd, 1997, during the Stanley Cup playoffs, in the second round, the Mighty Ducks Anaheim Ducks would meet Detroit after earning their first ever playoff series win versus Phoenix. Losing 4-0 in the 1997 Western Conference semifinals, the Ducks would lose to Detroit in Game 1, 2-1 in overtime. In Game 2, 3-2 in triple overtime. In Game 3, falling 5-3 to Detroit. In Game 4, losing in double overtime to Detroit 3-2. Of all the 4 games, 3 of them went to overtime, showing the grit and the never surrender and never say die attitude by the Mighty Ducks Anaheim Ducks during those years. 2 years later, the Mighty Ducks Anaheim Ducks would face Detroit, only losing to them 4-0 in the series. Ducks would lose in Game 1, 5-3. In Game 2, they would lose 5-1. The Ducks would lose in Game 3, 4-2, and would lose in a shutout versus Detroit, 3-0 in Game 4. Many traditionalist hockey fans, those of the original six, as I said before, and all hockey fans would look down upon our team and Ducks fans alike, considering us a joke, a pushover, a has-been, and at times a disgrace. It was not until 2003, 4 years later, during the 2003 Stanley Cup playoffs, that those doubts, those naysayers, the haters or the doubters would all be proven wrong. The Mighty Ducks Anaheim Ducks would face Detroit, then the Stanley Cup champions, in what many consider it a David versus Goliath moment. All sports pundits back then, and many naysayers back then, gave our team no chance, no opportunity no support when it came to fighting, battling, and standing toe-to-toe against the then defending Stanley Cup champions, Detroit. But triumphantly, they were proven wrong. All wrong. In Game 1 of the 2003 Western Conference quarterfinals, the Mighty Ducks Anaheim Ducks would win 2-1 in triple overtime, shocking all hockey fans in Detroit and the hockey world. When the results came in, many brushed it aside, considering the Ducks back then lucky. It wasn't until Game 2 when the Mighty Ducks Anaheim Ducks would win 3-2, taking a 2-0 series lead. Again, many traditionalists and hockey purists would scoff at the idea, would be in self-denial that the Ducks were taking it to Detroit. When Game 3 rolled around, the Ducks would win 2-1 over Detroit, taking a 3-0 series lead. All Ducks fans know what would become, what would be there. They sensed the vibe, as I did. By Game 4, an important game, and one that would bring pandemonium and light up the spark of the fighting spirit of the Mighty Ducks Anaheim Ducks. The Mighty Ducks Anaheim Ducks would win Game 4, 3-2, with Steve Ruchin scoring the game-winning goal, signifying, shocking the hockey world, shaking it to the ground, sending a clear message. One bold, one clear. To all hockey fans, including our Anaheim Ducks, who never gave up, that this team was no pushover. There was no pushover towards Detroit, which the loss was sent loud and clear to the city of Detroit and to all Red Wings fans. That moment created more than just a lasting memory. It would create a rivalry, a battle between two teams. It was until another 4 years later, in the 2007 Stanley Cup playoffs, the Mighty Ducks Anaheim Ducks would win 4-2 in the Western Conference Finals, advancing to the Stanley Cup Final for the second time, winning the Western Conference title for the second time in franchise history. These moments, these games between two teams, the new breed that is the Mighty Ducks Anaheim Ducks versus the Old School Traditionalists in Detroit. Two teams that would define, you could say, the clash of generations between the old school and the new school. Like many of you, seeing our Mighty Ducks Anaheim Ducks win in that 4-0 Western Conference Series sweep. That upset. I was elated. I was overjoyed. The team, as I say, played a huge part in my life. I wore the Mighty Ducks Anaheim Ducks jersey, the original one, with honor and pride, as I know many of you have done 21 years ago. 4 years later, in 2007, the Ducks again proving themselves, showing that they are no pushovers. Tells you a lot to how our team and team fans of the Ducks have grown. We can only look back with not just remembrance and nostalgia, but know where our team, over the years battling Detroit, has made them who they are now. That is the history. That is the moment of battles connecting our Anaheim Ducks to Detroit, whether it be win or lose.